Roman Emperor.
The Roman Emperor,
Yes. What is the Roman Emperor considered at that time? A god, right?
Yeah.
A god, yes.
So is that an icon? Is that a pagan idol?
Are you sure you're not talking about the Sadducees though?
It might be. The point is when he goes to
No, but there's there's a difference. If you're talking about the Sadducees and the Pharisees, I thought the Pharisees don't even. I thought some of these Jewish groups don't even accept the image of the emperor in their coinage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
The point
but
is
I
that
think you're mixing.
He finds them in the temple with this image. That's the point.
Yeah. So
But you're talking about the Sadducees. But this is the whole point. He's talking about the Pharisees. You're talking about the Sadducees. Sadducees are not the
We're
Pharisees.
talking about religious corruption. We don't care.
No. It does matter. It does matter.
That's what Jesus was against. It's not against the people. It's not against the group. He was sent to the tribe of Israel. It's not against the group where he was against the corruption.
You're joining two groups that are very different.
Because that's what Jesus of the temple, and they're letting
Sadducees were in charge of the temple, not the Pharisees.
That's not the fact.
The Sadducees.
The Sadducees were in authority through Rome. The Pharisees had power and virtue. That's exactly the point.
That's exactly the point.
The point is that regardless, they were allowing idolatry in the temple.
Into the temple.
I'm saying the Pharisees and the
They
Zealots.
didn't love God, as he just said.
One
so
second.
the first law.
The Pharisees and the Zealots were not happy with imagery of the Roman emperor on their coinage. Yeah, the Pharisees and Zealots did not want to integrate with Rome. The Pharisees and Zealots wanted to eat kosher food. The Pharisees and Zealots circumcised their children. They were very Torah orthodox. They didn't want to integrate with the Roman Empire. The Sadducees and the Herodian Jews, they were allied with Rome. The Sadducees and the Herodian Jews were Torah lights. They didn't practice a lot of the laws outside of the Jewish, in the Jewish diaspora. Yeah, sure. So I'm saying there's these two groups.
It's
the Sadducees, not the Pharisees.
So what I'm saying is, why would Jesus, who is meant to be the Messiah, to liberate them from occupation, why is he so anti his own people?
To liberate them from occupation.
No, I mean, sorry, okay, I read into that a bit. But I'm saying he's meant to, I accept.
Even I have to say that.
Yeah, sure. But he is here to save the Jewish people, right?
It's to save all people.
Yeah.
From sin.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's here to save the Jewish people.
Well, like he said in John 3:16.
Not from Rome.
Why?
He didn't come to say, he makes clear, he did not come into the world to do that. He came
to bring peace.
so whoever might believeth in him will have eternal life.
But that message fits exactly what Rome would want from that figure.
That makes sense. When John was written, they weren't being persecuted by Romans. If Polycarp wasn't being burnt alive by the Romans, that would make sense.
but the
Why would
Romans-
John, why would John and St. John and all his disciples being murdered, all his friends being murdered by Romans? What on earth would lead you to believe ever that he would write a pro-Roman book?
Okay.
And John is the only one of the Eastern. They are sister polytheists.
Sure. When is so in terms of
This position makes no sense.
Titus and Vespasian, those two Roman emperors, are you familiar with them?
Not as much, but yeah.
So the Emperor Nero was the last in the line of Julius dynasty emperors. So then there was a year of 4 emperors, where there's 4 emperors vying for the throne. Back then, church and state were the same thing, right? Not like church and state, but like when you became Roman, when you become Roman emperor, you have to justify it religiously from the imperial court, right? So back then, the conditions that the Roman Empire was in at the time, under Titus and Vespasian, were very different to the later persecution of the Christians by Roman emperors succeeding
Yeah,
them.
when we say persecution, we don't necessarily mean that they were just slaughtering Christians willy-nilly. We just mean that Christians were at liberty to be killed by the state at their free
When was that
And
happening?
their religion was illegal until for 300 years, until Constantine. The religion was illegal.
Can you show me?
Until Constantine, not a single Roman empire legalized Christianity.
And even
Not a
so,
single one.
they were actually killing them back willy-nilly.
Can you
If you read from horrible history, you see that they were placed honey on them for the bee trap.
Good
Also,
advice.
they were also thrown into the
There's a
gladiators
point I want
to
to
be.
make actually about Saint Constantine as well. And yes, he's a saint in the Eastern Church. So Constantine actually really preferred the Arian position. Just to note, so the fact that he even accepted the position of the council instead of rejecting it, he accepted the consensus of the church over the position he liked, shows you just demonstratively what the true Christian position is, irrespective of what the Roman emperors wanted.
Okay, but I'm saying under Titus and Vespasian, where was the persecution of the church?
Once again, we're not saying there's some active murder. What we're saying is that we can demonstrate through.
No, I'm saying show me any persecution of the early church under Titus and Vespasian.
Give me the time you want.
So it would have been before, around like 60 AD. 67 AD.
60, but by that time, you can see. Actually, the Bible testifies to that. In Acts, Paul gets in Acts.
Or maybe it was after 70 to 80 AD, around that time.
has to be
When was Polycarp?
Well, we can see from earlier on, even before 70, that there were being persecuted. Because even in Acts, Paul writes that the Jews sent the Roman soldiers to come and fight.
That was under Nero, right?
We asked us before.
That wasn't under Titus and Vespasian.
Are you saying after 70 AD? We know that it started from before.
I think you think
we started from
Christians
before.
are being slaughtered left, right, and center. No, we just mean that
Persecution doesn't mean
we just mean that Christians are at liberty to be killed by the state whenever it so chooses. That's what we mean.
Okay.
That's the typical understanding.
And they were thrown to the gladiators when they did it.
Yeah, we used to get fed by life. St. Polycarp's Martyrdom is a great short book. I would recommend.
And
reading.
plus, Constantine doesn't have much of a power to why Christianity grew. The only reason why he allowed Christianity to grow is because the belief in the land was past his control, that he can't really just imprison everyone.
What I'm saying is the Jewish revolt happens, right? Like the Roman emperor comes in, demolishes all of Jerusalem, right? And he's doing that because there's a massive Torah Orthodox pro-zealot movement in Jerusalem.
I also believe in my worldview the destruction of the temple is the end of the old covenant.
No, but I'm saying what was happening was...
So I believe it's an act of God more than anything.
Okay, so why... So, sorry, explain.
Yeah, so the transition period between the crucifixion of Christ and the destruction of the temple is the transition from the old to the new covenant. The destruction of the temple means that it can't fulfill the covenant anymore. There is no temple for the Jews. There is no sacrifice. There is no priesthood.
Yeah, and what tells you that?
The Talmud says.
Sure, but what brings
40
the new
years,
the Gospels?
40 years before the destruction, the sacrifices did not work in the temple.
And they talk about
the
the veil, that every time when they used to sacrifice the animals to cleanse the sins of the people, the veil used to turn white straight after. But after 70 AD, after 30 AD, the garment, the veil did not turn white anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, there's the Gospels which preach a new covenant, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Those Gospels are written, if you date the Gospel of Mark, it's written around 3 years after the destruction of the temple. 3 years before, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's fine, there you go. And what does Mark 15 say? It says that the temple shuddered, the light went out. It talks about all this in Mark 15.
But what I'm saying
and
is...
if that's 3 years before...
Sorry. Gospel of Luke talks about
but Mark talks about it.
The destruction of the temple.
I need to go.
Yeah, sure. No worries.
Because Mark 15, it talks about the effects the crucifixion had on the temple.
Okay.
So it's there even in Mark. Even in Mark 2. Mark 2 is claiming Jesus is Yahweh.
Okay.
The gospel of Jesus Christ, Son of God.
No, it's better than that. It says, John is making a way for the Lord. We go to Isaiah 40 verse 3. The Lord that has been made way for is Yahweh. So John is making the way for Yahweh. So even Mark is claiming directly that Jesus is God, by the way. Just an aside.
Okay. So just in terms of the temple being destroyed, the temple is destroyed, right? Yeah. The temple is destroyed, and then you have to. The Romans had to root out the psychological state of mind of the Jewish people in that time, which was very anti-Roman, right? What I'm proposing is amplifying the gospel's message is a way of them to do that. It's a good form of propaganda.
In 70 AD then,
before
but they didn't do it until 325 AD. This is a really poor argument. I think it's going to be a really hard one to actually substantiate.
Because the church is not based on the right things. They already had the tradition, everything that is said before then. So if after 70 AD, then corruption comes from the Romans, there will be the corruption would have to involve the people that are already Christians to say, okay, we're doing contrary to the message, but yet we still held the belief.
A demonstration of St. Constantine preferred Arianism, and yet he accepted the church.
Why are we going to Constantine, which is 400 years after?
That's when the Roman Empire actually accepted Christianity. So if he was some ploy, why wouldn't he enforce what he actually believed, which is he believed towards the Arian belief, which the council rejected and he accepted? And you know how you validate the council? The emperor has to agree.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So the Gospels are meant to be in a new covenant. Yeah.
I'm meant to tell you about the
new covenant. Yeah. So that means you're not bounded by the law anymore.
No,
we are bounded by the law
in its fulfillment.
So you still have to follow, you have to be Torah observant Jew.
In its fulfillment, in its fulfillment. So that's why I asked you guys about continuity.
I'm talking about keeping the law.
Yeah, in its fulfillment. So you need to understand.
Okay, good.
It's their tradition.
And the Jews are waiting. Wait 1 second. I understand what you mean fulfillment.
Okay, cool.
But I'm talking about keeping the commandments.
Yeah, we believe in keeping the commandments.
What do you mean, the commandments or the law? The commandments or the law?
The way how the Jews follow the 650.
No, once again, I'm saying to you via fulfillment. So our temple is our church and ourselves. The altar is in the church. The incense, the sacrifice is the Eucharist. Our priesthood is the priesthood. We have the fulfillment of the law.
Yes.
No, I'm not talking about.
And we have to keep the morals.
So that's why it means why we are still keeping it. So the same thing we used to do when we had a physical temple. Now in Christ, we have a spiritual temple. We still do the same thing according to.
Okay, but that means
We still sacrifice our altar. The altar's in our heart.
No, I'm still saying.
Baptism is the new
1 second. I understand what you mean by fulfillment.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, are you keeping the 613 mitzvahs?
No, because
Let me-
Good. Now, the Jewish people, they are waiting for their Messiah to recommence the animal sacrifice.
we agree he's already came.
My question is, why would the gospel, if you believe that, do you see where I'm coming from? The Jewish, it doesn't.
I haven't heard your point.
It sounds like to me that the Romans are trying to suppress.
I'm not saying
Suppress what? You haven't said it.
Wait, it seems to be the case that the wait, 1 second. It seems to be the case that the Romans are suppressing or changing the figure of that Messiah.
Yes.
Yeah, from being a Torah observant to submitting to the Roman Empire.
Like give to Caesar what Caesar's, give to God what's God's.
First, second century Christians.
So hang on. Okay. Are you okay? Sure. I can explain. Okay, so when Vespasian and Titus, absolutely, Vespasian and Titus, right? When they go into Jerusalem, they demolish it, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what happens after? Vespasian and Titus claim to be messianic-like figures.
Sure.
Josephus, Tacitus, and I can't remember the
Paul writes that
Suetonius. They talk about Vespasian and Titus as being messianic-like figures.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Romans or Greeks appropriate the religion of the
But we still don't.
That doesn't get you to your point.
So what I'm trying to say is there is a context there where the Romans are trying to appropriate the Jewish religion to make it non-Torah observant, to make it in line with the Roman occupation in terms of their theology, in terms of why is it following
Even
Rome?
Jesus said
And-
there were many messiahs.
Yeah.
The Jews also know there were many people that call themselves messiahs before Christ. So if someone then comes and says that he's the Messiah, doesn't mean that now we then follow
we're
it.
not saying identification of Messiah. I'm saying the portrayal, the way how this messianic
no
figure is portrayed.
correlation. Especially in a time where the Christians were being
as an
persecuted.
Orthodox Christian, and as far as I know, you're an Orthodox Christian. I'm not sure about you, but as
sorry,
a
are you
Christian-
Orthodox?
I'm approaching Orthodox.
Okay.
Okay, as an Orthodox Christian, you believe that Jesus came to fulfill the law, but you don't
put mics on me.
keep
Sorry for the outstanding.
you don't keep the commandments anymore, yeah? Like how the Jews are following the Torah, yeah? They're following 630 mitzvot. Okay, now, the Roman Empire are facing Jewish rebellious people called the Pharisees and the Zealots, okay? Now, in order for them to suppress any chance of rebellion, the Romans portrayed a Messiah that was pro-Roman. That means you don't have to follow the law.
Did the Jews follow them? Did the Jews follow that?
Roman emperors did that for themselves, not for Christ.
Yeah, but I was showing. That's an example. Yeah, I was showing.
It doesn't mean they have to follow it. Just because
I'm showing.
No, the Jews didn't even follow that.
Go to places and appropriate the religion of
Yeah.
the place.
No, but
It's then a cause of provocation because it's not
Anything
corruption.
about your claim.
Okay, so what I'm saying is the fact that Vespasian and Titus did that about himself shows that thinking was there.
Also, causation, correlation, fallacy again.
It doesn't
How
really.
is that causation?
Yeah, because just because someone does something doesn't mean it relates to something else.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I'm saying what I'm trying to.
Sit down
Sorry.
and go through your arguments and assess them against a logical fallacy list. Because your arguments are full of fallacy, and I mean that so respectfully. Your arguments are bad.
You know I love talking.
They're really, really bad. A lot.
No, but what I'm trying to say is there's a climate there where Romans are trying to appropriate the Jewish religion, right?
Yeah.
To make it stop being so Torah orthodox.
That's it.
Yeah.
But that's a causation, correlation, fallacy.
It's not.
How is that a correlation?
It's no relation to what
I'm
they have to
giving
do.
I'm giving the context. I'm giving the background context. I'm not trying to. I'm not so sad. Yeah, exactly. I'm not landing.
Facing resistance from the Pharisees.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
But lame line.
Well, he's not letting me land.
No, the point is,
I'm trying, did it?
the point is this: the Roman Empire are facing resistance from Torah observant Jews.
Yeah, and
yeah. So what they do as their as their propaganda,
really,
they have to
go
portray
to
a Messiah that accepts the Roman Empire.
and then hang on. I can link it up.
Messianic Jews that were there. If they were going to deceive anyone, they would deceive them. Not the Jews that don't have a Messiah yet.
Basically,
Do you believe Jesus will recommence the sacrifice?
so you're saying that it's a false link, right? Yeah. Okay, so there's
But the Jews didn't cause the Christians.
sure.
So the Christians were diametrically anti-Roman. They would die on profession that Christ was God and not the emperor. I don't see how in any way you can shift that to be pro-Roman.
Okay, so there's Vespasian and Titus, who are claiming to be a messianic-like figure, according to Dionysius, Tacitus, and Josephus. Yeah, and then when they went into Jerusalem, they used the anchor and the dolphin as their house symbol, right? The Christians pick up the anchor and the dolphin as a symbol for the early church. So why are they picking up that same symbol?
Some of them were culturally significant.
Culturally significant. Why? Because it has a significance in the culture. The significance in the culture.
If a Muslim comes here from Arabia and they come and start saying, yo, wow, bro, it doesn't mean they've become a Christian or Jamaican or anything, just because they've adopted a culturally significant thing of the
But the significance of that to the Romans was that it's preaching.
Meaning is produced.
Yeah.
It's not produced by a particular object or form.
Yeah.
Meaning is produced by the subject that it understands it. For example, if I say to you, and if I go to America and say, hey, yo, this is bear.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
In America. But I say it in UK and I say, yo, this is bear. What do I mean?
Like it depends, right?
There's a lot,
Yeah,
right?
there's a lot, yeah.
So is meaning produced by the word or by those who use the word?
Every time you use this example, it's about a different geographical place.
No, it's not the point. The point is
Yeah,
that people can understand the same thing to mean different things.
Yeah.
So your onus is now on you to prove that whoever was looking at that particularly understood it one way and not the other. And I think that's the claim neither of us can actually warrant. So I just think it's not a strong argument.
Okay, so look, when Vespasian and Titus go into Jerusalem and they demolish everything, and then the Roman authors are talking about them as being a messianic-like figure, right? When they use their house symbol, which is a symbol that was used by the Seleucid dynasty to.
One person used it in
I can pull up further examples, but I'm talking about the symbol first. So no, sure. You wanna? Okay.
I don't want to see the symbol.
Sure, I don't want to keep you too long, by the way. So.
My knees are just aching. That's the problem.
It's too cold, man.
Well, we ended up on YouTube today.
I didn't mean to lie.
That's alright.
If you believe that, then you have to provide the evidence for that.
Okay.
Then you don't have evidence for your claim. We have evidence for our claim. We don't have any evidence for
But I'm saying. Yeah, what's the evidence?
Then maybe examine it before.
Your source is Wikipedia.
No, I'm not. No, I wasn't. It was Wikipedia. Wait. Hang on. Sure.
The evidence provided to you before making a full conclusion. Evidence is not a claim. Evidence is not a claim. Evidence is not.
Yeah, Catholic Encyclopedia.
Dolphin, you said dolphin is Christian.
This is the dolphin. I'll try and find the anchor.
Let's read what it says though.
Sure.
We can't do the general ideas underlying the more general use of fish. The particular idea is that of swiftness and clarity symbolizing the desire within Christians who are thus representing being sharers in the nature of Christ, the true fish. Hence, yeah, so what's wrong with that?
So, sorry.
The same way in Britain and the UK we have a different meaning for the same word. Same way Nazis and Hindus have a different meaning for swastika.
What about this one?
Yeah, so they're just, all it's showing there is that it has a cultural significance and it's safe for Christians. That's what I would interpret.
Why would it be safe for Christians if it's the Roman Emperor's symbol? And you're saying the Roman Emperor's...
Because you're equivocating. They're using a culturally synonymous symbol
Yeah.
in their own way to represent, and those who are Christians are going to know this. They're going to know if you see this symbol with this symbol, this means this is a safe place for Christians. That's what I would naturally prefer.
Okay, so I know you were saying that the emperors Titus and Vespasian didn't persecute the early Christians. Is that what you're saying? You're saying they did persecute the early Christians?
Yeah,
They did. So how is it a safe space for early Christians if they're using the same symbol as the Roman emperors?
When Jews were in Nazi Germany, there are places they could hide that were safe.
Yeah, but the symbol for those hidden places is not the swastika.
It doesn't have to be. It could have been, and it still wouldn't mean it's not
Is that
safe.
seriously?
No, but like, I'm trying to understand because we're talking about logic here. And
Yeah.
There's no logical entailments of what you're saying. There's no connection between A and B.
Okay, I'll give you the logic.
Yeah, syllogism,
Okay, I'm in charge of this country.
Premise one.
Premise one. I'm in charge of this country. My symbol is the triangle, right? You are a persecuted minority in my country. The way, your buildings to indicate safe spaces use the triangle. So you're using my symbol to indicate a safe space for
It can be
your.
ironic. It doesn't mean it. That doesn't
You're
really,
saying first century Christians. You see the
it
issue.
can be ironic. It doesn't really prove anything about the nature of their beliefs or what they believe. That doesn't really get us anywhere to that. That's the problem I'm seeing. Is that I get what you're saying. It just doesn't get you to the conclusion you want to get to. But I want to ask you an interesting question.
Sure.
Why do all three of the disciples of John and Peter all attest that Jesus is God when they're supposed to Peter and John are supposed to be Muslims?
So why do all the three disciples attest John and Peter? So why did they?
He says there's only one physician who's both made and unmade. Unmade of God and Mary. Unmade meaning you have no beginning.
Yeah.
So that means he's God.
Yeah.
Right. I can't remember exactly what Polycarp says, but he calls him God and Polycarp. And in Irenaeus, where he's constantly defending against heresy, and he gives the Apostles' Creed.
I don't buy into any of the historicity of all this.
Well, why though? That's
Yeah, because I'm saying it's all propaganda by the Romans.
no. That's your presupposition. Why is that true?
Yeah, why is that true? Is because I'm giving you the context. Okay, so
No,
we have.
you're not hypothetical. I'm asking for actual burhan demonstration.
Yeah.
Demonstrate to me that these three people, who by the way, Polycarp died at the hands of the Romans, so that's a really
Yeah,
that's
but not at
silly.
the hands of not at the hands of Vespasian and Titus,
Roman.
because
Why did the Romans kill him?
Domitian, the Emperor Domitian, is from the same family as Titus and Vespasian. Yeah,
Okay, cool. You're not answering
but
the
he
question.
can't claim the messianic to be a. Yeah.
Why would Polycarp proclaim Jesus as God and get murdered by the Romans for that belief if this is a pro-Roman action?
Because I'm telling you. No, I'll explain.
Say it back to yourself.
Yeah.
This guy who got killed by the Romans for professing his belief was pro-Roman.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, look at yourself, does that make any sense to you?
It does, because you're not separating. Roman Empire was not a monolith throughout its entire history.
It was.
So I'm saying, yeah, but what Roman Emperor under what Roman Emperor?
It wouldn't be particularly a Roman emperor. It would just be whatever.
No, but what
tradition
under
of
what
authority.
Roman Emperor's time? Because Domitian, he went back to the religion of his ancestors. So he stopped following Titus and Vespasian, right? So he didn't follow them being like these figures. He did not agree with Titus and Vespasian being a messianic-like figure.
That's fine. That has nothing to do with what I'm asking.
That's why he went back to persecuting Christians.
Why
Yeah.
did Polycarp and all those three
Yeah.
proclaim he is God? And one of them died for it. I can't remember if the other two died as well. But they're all quite adamant Christ is God. Now, my problem isn't to do that thing. The point is that the Quran makes a claim, and it doesn't name them. It just claims that Christ had many apostles who were also Muslims.
Yeah.
Right? And there are tafsir.
Who could be amongst the Pharisees, who could be amongst the
But there's
zealots.
tafsir.
Yeah.
Okay, multiple. That's why I used the term
Sure.
tafsir instead of tafsir. So there are.
And Razi
I think
indicates
it's
this.
in Al-Qurtubi.
Okay.
And I think it's also in Ibn Abbas. And I think one of them says Paul is a messenger, and one of them says Shamun and Bullis, Paul and Peter. Right? So what I'm going to ask you is, let's just forget Paul, because I know you guys don't like Paul. Let's just focus on Peter. So you believe Peter, close person of Christ, Shamun bin, something or other you call him in Arabic.
Yeah.
He not only appointed Ignatius via letter to his bishopric in Antioch,
Yeah.
but he was his teacher of Mark and Ignatius.
Yeah,
And
but
they
where are
both
you
proclaimed
substantiating all this tradition? Where is this all coming from?
apostolic tradition.
Apostolic tradition. Why should I take apostolic tradition?
Why shouldn't you take first century attestation? Because that makes no sense. Why should you do
Yeah, but why?
that?
Why? I'm not from the Christian
burden is
tradition.
on you. Why you should deny first century?
No, the burden is on you because I'm not from that tradition. Why should I accept
It's
it?
not a tradition, it's a historical fact that these three wrote books that are first century books that attest to these things previous to them. So first century attestation, contemporary attestation. For what on earth would be the reason naturally to reject attestation other than the presupposition that Islam disagrees with it?
No, but I'm saying, I'm just asking you to substantiate that these are actually written by those people from scholarship. Can you show me?
Oh yeah, sure. Absolutely would. No one's going to deny.
No worries.
So what I'm doing is I'm trying to.
You know what?
Oh,
Why you guys putting your
I was
back on the
I was
floor?
hiding. Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, trying to
No, no worries. I won't hold you to it. But basically,
we can probably graphic.
Sure.
But
I'm just,
I actually want to come back to it next time I see you.
Absolutely, let's do it.
We can both go through a bit more.
But I just want you to look into the symbology of the anchor and dolphin.
I'll go through all of it.
Look at how it was used by the Greeks, right? Look at how it was used by the Romans, and then look at why it was adopted by the early Christians. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We can further discuss this. I think you've been a great.
Thank you, man.
been a great
No worries,
discussion.
it's
I
great.
think you're really nice.
No worries, man.
Genuine.
Likewise.
I like it.
What I'm saying that all of our reasoning is grounded
Yeah.
on.
Take care of yourself, man.
So we don't just go by intuition.